Hello, my name is Joseph Arnott and my presentation is about the development in technology regarding the Pepper's Ghost illusion from the golden era of magic to the present day. I'm going to be talking about the early development and history of the technology used in the Pepper's Ghost trick and some more modern adaptations as well to show you the extremes of the two. I knew that looking into the world of magic and illusion was going to be rather difficult because I couldn't tell if all the sources were telling the truth the whole time, as the world of magic and illusion is often very secretive. As the title may suggest, Pepper's Ghost, it was created by someone called Pepper and John Henry Pepper, you'd be right. But after doing some more digging I found that a newer creator seemed to come to the forefront called Henry Dirks, but we'll come back to John Henry Pepper in a second. Using an article by Greg Gabor, who is a scholar at the University of North Carolina, who focuses on physics and optical illusions, his article talks about Dirks and Pepper's lives and their own personal experiences with the ghost illusion. Dirks published a book in 1863, which was a year after the ghost illusion was created. The full title of the book being The Ghost, as produced in a spectrodrama, popularly illustrating the marvellous optical illusions obtained by the apparatus called the Dirkskian Phantasmagoria, being a full account of its history, construction and various adaptations. So this book was a full first-hand history of Dirks and his experiences with creating the trick. The book goes on to say, "I first invented a plain mirror of unsilvered glass, but finding no practical use for it, it was laid aside. I accidentally observed a solid body in a particular situation by which it apparently rendered transparent, giving the idea of using a ghost. Unsilvered glass simply meaning it's not coated in silver nitride and it's not a reflective surface like a mirror. The illusion Dirks created was a big and complicated piece of technology to set up. Here's a diagram of the setup so you can see the scale of the actors to the people. It would have been huge. In the same year that it's created, Dirks goes around to theatres and specific organisations in the hope that he'll gain fame and he'll be able to sell the trick to theatres. So this is basically how it works. You've got K, which is the unsilvered piece of glass, and that goes down the middle here. Y, which is the actor here, the ghost actor in the hidden stage section, is then reflected onto this side here at YI in his ghostly form. H up here is where the audience would look down onto the stage area from on the right. J is a reflective mirror, so the sun would shine down onto the mirror on the underside of I, and then down onto this section here, where the ghost actor is hiding. If I is closed, then no light's getting in here, so then no one can see the ghost figure. When he was going around these specific organisations and theatres, the main things that kept coming up for him which stopped his trick being of any use was due to the trick requiring a strong light source such as sunlight, so it could have only been done during the day, which isn't the most suitable time to be seeing ghosts. The positioning of the audience, having the audience at the top of the illusion, means that it would require the whole stage to be rebuilt, which is an extremely costly adaptation, especially just for one trick. Coming back to John Henry Pepper though, when Dirks was doing his second attempt to sell his invention, he came across another keen fellow scientist, John Henry Pepper. So John Henry Pepper was a scientist and inventor, much like Dirks. He had a passion for science from a young age. At 19, he was the assistant lecturer at the Grenier School of Medicine. He went on to present a lecture at the Royal Polytechnic Institution, which is an institute of science and higher learning. He was a great success and became the director of the institution within a few years. Pepper also released a book, however, about the illusion called The True History of Pepper's Ghost. That was published in 1890, so they've both released books saying about the true history of the illusion, which is rather interesting. When Dirks came across Pepper, he brought the illusion to the Royal Polytechnic, where Dirks demonstrated a miniature version to Pepper. I found a recording of the meeting when I was reading Hiding the Elephant. Pepper exclaimed Pepper examined the model carefully. The professor peeked into the slot at the top, which simulated the experience of the audience looking down onto the stage. Pepper looked up from the model. If he could really produce a spirit on stage, that would surely be enough to bring in audiences. Now, Pepper was thrilled by Dirks' illusion, as they needed something to help bring people in to financially support the Polytechnic. He was anxious to use Dirks' invention because, like any other theatre operator, he was in no position to rebuild the auditorium at the Polytechnic as Dirks was suggesting. After figuring out how he could alter the trick to make it his own and not use the size and scale that Dirks was suggesting, he arranged for the modified apparatus to be built. The oxyhydrogen lamp illuminated the effect in place of sunlight. The necessary traps and pits were installed in a stage of the small lecture room. This drawing here shows the lecture room with his setup here. I'm going to take a closer look at that. This is the setup that Pepper used. So A is now this stage line going across, so that's the stage. K is where the performer would stand here, underneath the stage. C is the lamp, which would then project light onto the actor. B is a shutter, a high-speed shutter, so it means that they could make the ghost appear and disappear quicker instead of having to open and close that big flap at the top all the time. The actor then would be reflected up onto F, which is a sloped pane of glass, which would go across the stage. So now I've looked at the history of Pepper's Ghost and how it was adapted in such a short space of time. I'm going to be talking about some of the modern uses of the trick. Now there's two in particular that I want to focus on. Tupac's Ghost performing with Snoop Dogg at the 2012 concert, which you can see here. And then the Haunted Mansion ride at various Disney theme parks where ghosts gather around a dining table and around a haunted mansion. So Snoop Dogg was able to produce a version of Tupac at his concert in 2012. This amazed people at the time, as Tupac died in 1996. So seeing him in 2012 with Snoop Dogg was a rather surprising thing to see. To figure out exactly how the trick was done, I'm looking at an article by The Conversation to help understand what exactly they used. So Tupac in fact appeared with some very old stagecraft technique used and called Pepper's Ghost. A thin transparent plastic sheet 10 metres across, 4 metres high, was lowered across the stage, slanting from the stage upwards towards the audience. While Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre wrapped behind the film, Tupac was projected on it using a high-definition projector reflecting off mirrors below the stage. So the only thing that they change really is that they use a projector and a mirror instead of using an actual person and a hydrogen lamp. And they replace the sheet of glass that goes all the way across the stage with a plastic sheet instead. So it's a slightly lighter piece of technology to use. The Haunted Mansion, however, this really surprised me. The use of Pepper's Ghost at Disney's Haunted Mansion is a different method than the one used by Snoop Dogg. As described in the YouTube video in this article for Inside the Magic, the video shows the view from the carriage, which is on the top of the house as you drive around. So here's like a middle view, and there's a dining table below, and there's things going on above you as well, like chandeliers and things like that. There's a sheet of glass between you and the set, which is set at a perfect angle for the figures underneath to be reflected and look as though they are inside the funhouse. So here is a rough illustration of what exactly goes on. So you're here on the Doom Buggies, you're looking down at the dining room table, where you can see the ghosts here, when in fact the animatronics are actually below you, here. And they're in that area, and if you don't mind me calling it a hidden stage part, which directly reflects what Dirks originally did with his plan. So that's my presentation, thank you.